Hello and welcome to another edition of Interview with DJ Nocturna. I'm always so happy to have my a new guest on the show because I learned so much. I've got the electronic folk band from Vancouver, Canada. Three of them are here, so happy to have you guys. Netjer. I got Raven Rizzi, who's the lead vocalist and also the songwriter. I got David Deckard, the electronic guy, right? Doesn't so many other things. And I got Jesse. I'm gonna mispronounce it if you don't do it for me.
Elliot.
Elliot. Okay, there we go. The amazing throat singer.
Oh,
Okay,
thank you.
sorry, I can't do it, but I'm always amazed at throat singers. I mean, they're just like it sounds so beautiful.
It's in the DNA. You should be able to learn how to do it with the right training.
I know.
I believe you can.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining me. I mean, you guys are an amazing group of talented people. I mean, I've been reading your bio and you guys just I don't know how you guys just collaborated together and just made it happen, because it's very unique. Some of these guests that I have on the show, I don't know how they found each other. It's almost like fate, right? That's what I was
It's
gonna.
a bit of a story.
Yeah, I would love to hear about it because
Yeah, sure.
just your background alone is just like, how do you find somebody who loves Egyptian culture, right?
Yeah.
And then the language itself,
Yeah, so
that-
it was an interesting so as it says in the bios online, I graduated university with a degree in art, archaeology, art history, and Egyptology, and I graduated in 2020. So we were all stuck inside our houses, and I had this idea during, I think it was my third or fourth year of university of, I was reading an ancient Egyptian piece of literature about their afterlife. And in that literature, they use a lot of words to describe sounds. And because we don't know, it's such an old culture, we don't know what they sound like. They don't have any musical notation that was saved. But we know that music was a big part of their culture. So they used a lot of describing words to try and describe the sounds that they were using in their literature. And I thought it would be really cool to like do a concept album based on the different stages in their underworld and each of the sounds that you hear as they describe it in their text in the different stages. And so David and I, because we were stuck at home, started just noodling around. And we actually created the song Anubis first, and then Otherworld kind of came. And so we ended up having like some bits and pieces and some skeletons of songs, I like to call it, of what is now our EP Kemet. And then I had made a post on Facebook and some of the, Vancouver musician pages and things like that. Hey, I was actually looking for a guitar player. And then we still might be. Yeah. So that's another story. But, and then Jesse messaged me on Facebook during the first part of the lockdown and said, hey, I do throat singing. And I was like, you do you? Well, now.
Yeah. The throat singing is able to get in a lot of doors.
Yeah. It sounds good.
Yeah.
You guys sound good. Yeah. All of you guys with the vocals, just a beautiful, like ethereal sounding voice.
Thank you.
And just everything. Yeah. I mean, it's and then you guys have a style, which is also important, I think. You know how some bands they just dress like in anything. I mean, that's okay. I mean, everybody has their own style, but I mean, you give that mystery, a lot of mystery there behind you.
Thank you.
That enigma kind of say.
Thank you.
So all of you guys go to the university then? You're all in the same, pretty much in the same city.
We're in the same city, but I was the only one that went back to university again. So yeah, it was my second time around.
So Raven, can I just call you Raven?
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah. Okay. So how did you always love the Egyptian studies, Egyptian culture?
I did. Ever since I was like quite young, I always thought their culture was really fascinating. As an alternative goth person from that's what I am my whole life. And I'm very, I've always back before the internet, you know, had my sketchbook out and I was reading consistently, and I was always really curious about magic and fantasy and, you know, occult and mystery and all that stuff when you're like a 16-year-old goth girl. And of course that leads you to Egyptian stuff because of the Ankh and, you know, all of this sort of stuff. And so I, you know, as we all wear.
Yeah, we all wore that Ankh. I know, I still
we
have
all do it. I still have a tattoo on my arm, you know. But yeah, and I found their culture really fascinating because the magic for them is, it's just part of daily life. It's not, it's not something that, you know, for maybe in a modern day, we don't, you know, it's like, oh, that's just a magical thing. For them, is like, that's how things work. And I thought their culture was really fascinating. And I always thought it was cool I always wanted to be able to kind of read and write hieroglyphs. And like, I thought it'd be really, really, you know, and because their culture is so ancient and there's so much of it that's so preserved. So luckily I was able to get an opportunity here in Vancouver at the university to be able to further my actual study some of that stuff. So
yeah. Now, how about the Egyptian ancient Middle Egyptian language? How that's really hard, huh?
It's very difficult. Yeah, it's really hard. I
don't know anybody who, I don't even have a single friend that doesn't speak that thing. I mean, it's really, like the language of the dead.
Yeah, it is. Well, it is. It's a dead language. And so I only took a beginner class my last semester, and half that semester got stuck at home because of pandemic. But it was because it's a dead culture, we don't know what it sounds like. So there are many ways to interpret how to say the words in our Latin, and like in our Latin characters, like the Roman characters we use for our languages now. And so it's basically your best guesswork. And it was really, really interesting because that's a whole topic I could talk about, but it was a really, it's not an easy language. Any dead language is not easy because you're just putting bits and pieces together, what's left over. But it was really fun, even though it was super difficult.
And you got to make it.
Yes, and we made a lyric video using Egyptian hieroglyphs.
Anubis.
So that was really fun.
And that particular Anubis, right? I think that's a song that you if people listen to it, they can hear it there in that song.
Yes, I sing in ancient Middle Egyptian in Anubis. Yes.
That is so amazing. So if anybody's listening, check it out. It's in their debut EP, Kemet, right? That was released back in 2020.
Yes.
And there's a lot of good tracks there. There's Spirit Walker too, and there's I think 4 or 5 tracks in there, or something like that. Yeah. And that's your debut. That came out in 20. So did you guys write all of this during the pandemic times? Must be, right? Yeah.
Yes, and remotely.
But I mean, it did a lot of magical things for people, even though it was a horrible time. I mean, it brought people together. It brought people to create music and be creative in many, many ways, which is great. And David, I know you're the computer guy there, the programmer.
Correct.
I mean, we gotta have that, right? It brings
That's where the synth sounds are coming from, but also some of the other kind of, you can get all the nice organic sounds out of the computer now too.
Oh yeah.
And you do play the keys as well through almost all the songs and in your other glove too.
Yeah. So part of the thing for me was that combination of being able to kind of get those digital sounds, but still play them in a way that you would with a guitar around the fire, just to have that connection, right? Because with a computer, you always kind of like sitting behind a screen, or at least behind some keys or something. It's like a very detached kind of thing for performance. And a while ago, I kind of had this. I have this. I don't know if everybody can see it, but
oh yeah, I'm so glad you brought that. I was gonna ask you guys, can you guys take out your bone instruments?
So I do have the staff.
I mean, that's so amazing. Yeah.
In the other room.
Yeah.
There's this one.
You can run and get them. So
I
always wanted to. I did want to play it like an instrument.
Yeah.
And then I realized I found a tool that's just a couple of rings that you put around your finger that picks up your finger movements. And I was like, I'm a programmer, I can make this work. And it was really, really interesting to see like that come to actual like fruition when we performed the first time, to be able to actually just play part of the music in that way, because it felt really like it was a great connection. Like it wasn't just standing behind a keyboard or a screen, but actually being a part of like making those sounds, even though they're digital.
And you can see
because
in the
you can't.
video.
I mean, that sound is unique on its own, right?
Yeah.
Like
So,
any instrument.
and that's the thing. I think the way how you create the music has a big impact on how it sounds, even if it is a digital sound and you can make any sound you want. If you are somewhat limited in the way you do create it, you actually get more out of it than if you just have the whole thing available on a screen. Because sometimes it's a little daunting too. You're like, I have all the sounds available on my computer.
Yeah,
I don't know where to start or what to do.
Yeah.
So limiting yourself when it comes to that is actually quite powerful, because then you can concentrate on the basic idea that you want to bring across.
Yeah, we have some live videos on our YouTube channel that you can see him playing the pieces on his staff instead of on the keyboard, and it's
and an element.
Yes, and the new music video as well. You can see it in there too.
I mean, you bring the future back to the past, I guess you can say. You know, you take that you take that whole element of music and how it's probably played back in the day. You know.
Yeah,
I keep saying, like, we probably made sounds before we had language. We probably had music before we ever.
Yeah, that's very true. I can see that. Yeah, I mean, we are very cultural, creative people. You know, I mean, from the beginning of time. And then our throat singer here, Jesse. Tell us how you started. That's a very like unique. I mean, you got to have the voice. I mean, I wish I could do that. When I was young, I used to play around with that. I used to go. I mean, I can't do it anymore. But when I was a kid, I did that. I did that.
There's a constriction you have to do, and you have to support from your chest too. And you ever talk like this? Like you're maybe trying to hold in after a joint or something. You don't want to let the air out. That's how you start.
Yeah.
And then it can just go into it from there. But when you're talking about language, and for me that's very important too, because when I kind of come at an angle of throat singing as a meditation first and breath work first. And then when I'm doing it for a while, then I can be creative and experiment. And I've discovered so many things that are in sounds that I've been able to make, but I didn't ever know that I could. And I'm discovering them for the first time. And it's really amazing sometimes. Just and when I express myself, I kind of made the choice to not make a language when I sing. I'm not usually singing actual words. It's just vowels and consonants that want to come out, and I'm just saying them, and it's therapeutic in a way, but it's also, I don't know, like maybe it's proto language or ancestor language or
but we're going to challenge him on the next album. Yeah, we're going to challenge you on the next album.
That's true.
I'm going to make him say actual words now. It's going to be interesting.
I'm growing. I've only just started this a few years ago. Like I don't have a music background other than hobby electronic music. That's it. And this all happened just because of, wanting a change from my old life, and I made it, and that's all.
So when you say old life, you mean like I know you have a background in electronic music, right?
Yeah, just as a hobby, like I would put it on SoundCloud or whatever, just for fun. And I knew I wanted to be into music, but I didn't know what. And it was upon the discovery of the throat singing that I'm like, that's the what. I'm like, that's what I want to do. But before, I just channeled the life of not finding what I wanted to do. So sort of like living my life like, I'm turning 50, or like 45 and, or younger, and, I'm not happy, but then channeling that into making the decision to be happy, to go for something that I love, and to just be a part of this, cool band, and just
a very cool band.
I just love to do it. So it's like it was kind of an interesting combination when we all just kind of came together. I just practiced something that's kind of new, but the thing is, it's not totally new. There's indigenous people all around the world that
it's very shamanic.
Like I went to a Tuvan national championships online, and I get a participation award, so that was very honorable that they gave me that. They open up their their skills.
Yeah.
And so I sort of tried to emulate their skills, but I do it in my own way. And I develop on my own, but it's them as leaders who are like the masters. They could do so many things. There's so many good throat singers out there.
Oh yeah. And so Raven, you're also a classically trained pianist, right? You play the piano.
Yes. I did classical piano from 6 till about 17. I did that whole thing for many years. I did choral singing for a long time. And I play fiddle and various percussion instruments, some of the ones you hear on the album. You actually hear the fiddle in the Anubis, but it's in there. But vocals is my main, I would say, is my main instrument now. When we were in lockdown, and I work at a music store, so as my day job, and I was taking vocal lessons just to keep my instrument being used, so that it wasn't going stagnant with not being able to play live or do anything live. And that was really helpful.
So there's a rotta. To tell us about these, I know you have tell us a little bit. I know we all know the piano, the fiddle. What about the rotta?
Yeah. So the rotta, it was a gift. So it was made by a local person up in the interior BC, and I actually won it at. We were all singing around the fire and playing around the fire, and I won this instrument. So that was really
you won
cool.
the instrument? Oh
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they were doing a bardic competition, and I ended up the friends of mine were like, you get to pick this, and I was like, oh wow, guys, cool. So I figured it was really wonderful that the local community had gifted me this instrument. So I decided to use it in our song Void. Oh, look, Dave went and grabbed it.
Oh, is that it? Oh, wow. Look at that. Beautiful.
And so it's a Welsh instrument. It's like a prototype to a harp, basically. It's a same type of veins, because harps are actually quite an ancient instrument.
So that's a rotta, right? Rotta.
Yeah. So it's a Welsh style, and you would pluck it. It's a little out of tune. It's a very, it was a wonderful gift that was made, and so I thought it would be really nice to try and include it in
very unique
in our album, and it ended up actually working really nicely for the song Void, that you hear it and you see it in the music video because it has quite a weird, I find, a spooky kind of sound to it, and so it worked out really well.
So that instrument is in Void. Okay, I'll be sure to mention that when I play the songs. And then what about the tagelharpa?
So my tagelharpa, I have not recorded it yet. Not yet. Maybe the next album. It has a very unique sound, and personally, I listen to a lot of Northern European folk music, and you hear it's a main instrument that is played in some of those styles quite a bit. I am nowhere near as good at it as some of those artists are, but it has a very unique sound. It is kind of it is bowed, so it's a bowed lyre. And mine you can usually get them in 3 or 4 strings. Mine has 3 strings, and it's kind of, again, like a prototype to a cello or a violin. And I really, it's a lot easier to play than a cello or a violin. But it doesn't have those modern instruments. Can be very smooth and elegant sounding, whereas a rotta is always going to be a little more rough and crunchy sounding, just to the nature of how they are. But that's what gives them that unique sound. So maybe in the next album we'll see if it fits in some of the new songs we've been working on. But
that's going to be interesting, because it doesn't have frets, so you don't know exactly what notes you're
you
playing,
have to do it by ear.
We'll have to do it by ear.
Yeah.
So it's good. You could be creative.
Yes. Yeah, you can do some really interesting sounds on it. So, yeah.
And I know just switching up. I know you have merch. And you have this bone merch that I was really interested in when I saw that too. You make them.
Yeah. So here in BC and British Columbia, we have some smaller islands, and they have a lot of deer, and there's not a lot of predators. So there's so much deer, they just die of natural causes. They're literally just go in their deer beds and then they pass away, because there's not, like I said, there's hardly any predators. So during some of the lulls in the pandemic, I went up to one of those islands because we have some friends who live up there. And I went bushwhacking for about 5 hours for 2 days straight, looking for deer bones that, that were found, left there for a few years. So they're all, like ethically sourced, and no animals were killed. They were just died off from natural causes. And I found them all, cleaned them all up, let them, bleach in the sun for a couple days. And then, I paint them, and like Dave will put sometimes I'll put some little holes in them because it's really hard to drill in bone. It's a very hard material, so that's why, I tend to just paint them and wrap them up, and I sell them that way.
That's so interesting. And it's in your website,
Yes.
Netjer.band.
Yeah,
If
they
people are- I
can
don't know
buy
if
them on our Bandcamp. Yeah.
I'm not sure if you sold out, but if you have some more, I'm sure people would be interested. I mean, they're really interesting. I saw your video of you talking about it, and I'm like,
Oh,
wow, interesting.
Yeah, I have one right
Oh
here.
yeah, Jesse's wearing one right now.
There you go. Yeah.
Vertebrae.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
the
I mean,
sigil
for
back.
sure is one of a kind. Every single
Thank you.
single piece would be one of a kind.
Yes,
That's
yes,
for sure.
they're all handmade. Yeah, I have some new ones. I made some hairpins from some ribs, deer ribs, and there's a few other, like I guess you could wear them as necklaces or just hang them in your house from some of the other vertebrae. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So you guys have an upcoming album that's going to be coming out in February of 2023. It's called The Song of Trees.
Yes.
And I know you released I think three songs already from that album, right? You got Void, that was the first release, and then Salt and Tears, and then the more recent one that's out now. Is it only 3 songs you released, or are there other more? I'm not sure. Elemental Cry.
Elemental, yeah, we released 3.
Otherworld will be on there too, but that was basically our debut our debut song in October 2020. That's when it came out. That was the first one where we put everything together, the first music video we put out. It was really cool to see that come together.
Yeah.
But now every time when we work, especially with our videographer, who is amazing, it's really amazing to see when the production and the video and everything comes together. It's always really really cool to see that it all just worked together really well. So I think there's 4 songs out. There's only going to be 7 songs in the album, so when it comes out, there's going to be 3 more.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm looking forward.
But
they're good. Yeah. So what? Tell us the background behind, or the theme of the Song of Trees.
Yeah. So the Song of Trees, it's basically playing with the elements. So we have void, earth, air, fire, and water, and then elemental cry, and then the song Otherworld. And we tried with each of the songs, like void is the void song, Salt and Tears is our water song, the couple that are not out yet, Connect, Freedom, Elder, they're the fire, earth, and air songs. And we tried with how we were writing it, and especially with how Jesse's vocals were, to try and capture a mood or imagery of what that type of element would be like. Some of it based on my personal experiences and my personal practice, as well as, like with Jesse's singing.
You could feel it in the songs.
Yeah.
Like Connect is very earthy, right? It's very tribal. And Salt and Tears, which is out, is very emotional, very wavy, like water.
Like water, yeah.
And Elemental Cry that came out is about all of the elements together in the song, kind of, right?
Some of it, yeah.
There are a couple lines in there use all the elements.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see it here. You talked a little bit about that. It says theme of struggle and facing our fears and all that. Wow, very, very nice.
Thank you.
I really love that vibration here of you guys. You guys all have this good connection. I mean, you guys were like meant to meet each other, and you probably were you probably had past lives connected.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's good to hear, because it's been a bit of a slog trying to get through, starting a band when everything's shut down and you can't do anything live and you're stuck in your house. So it's been a bit of a bigger upward battle than normally, in the past would have been. So It's
still
been-
interesting.
Yeah, it
And
is.
it's always nice
Absolutely.
to see when it all comes together,
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
all the people that we got to work with that are super skilled at what they do with recording and audio production and video.
Mhm.
Yeah,
and
cinematography, photography.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
had like everybody got really into it and got it and brought like their best to it. And I think
Mhm.
it's the same here.
Yeah.
And it's just it's beautiful to see when it is bigger than just the individual parts. And
Yeah.
people bring their best.
Yeah.
It's really rewarding to see. It's like this little melody turned into this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was just
Wow.
sitting at my kitchen table noodling some lyrics. Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you guys have a merch. If people want to, it's on your Bandcamp page. Actually, you got some unisex Anubis, my lord unisex long sleeve shirt, which is really nice, and some bags and t-shirts. And I love
Yes.
the design of your
Thank you.
logo.
Thank you. Thank you.
So many, and then of course if they want to find the bones and the stickers and all that, it's all in there as well. And big shout out to Mooncoil Media, William, who connected us here.
Thank you, William. He's so amazing.
There's some interesting, guests, some interesting clients over there. You guys are for one, for sure. So, I always ask my guests, what is their sun sign, their astrological sun sign, if you want to share.
Scorpio.
Oh, of course.
And
You're a
she's also a
Scorpio.
double, like a lunar Scorpio as well. So
Yeah, I'm very Scorpio.
Yeah. Is your moon sign Scorpio as well?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
oh, your ascendant. Do you know your ascendant?
Yeah, I don't.
we'll
I
have
don't
to do
know.
your charts.
You're gonna have to do my chart. I am
Yeah.
not well versed in
Oh, okay.
astrology,
Well,
unfortunately. You'll have to show me after.
So Jesse, what are you? What's your sun sign?
I'm a Pisces sun, but
Uh-huh.
I have an Aries moon.
Oh,
Okay.
And my Earth and my Venus, or sorry, my Mars and my Venus are both in Taurus. So
Oh, okay.
a lot
So
of stability. There's a lot of
Stubbornness.
yeah.
That's fine. It's fine.
It comes from the other Taurus, Jason. That's why we get along.
Oh, right.
Yes.
right,
what about
right.
you, David?
Taurus. That's all that I know.
I'll do
Okay.
your charts.
Okay.
I'll do some detailed charts for you guys.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm a Sagittarius sun, Taurus moon, and Scorpio rising.
There we go. There we go.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I have all three of that in my whole person that I am. A lot
That's
of
awesome.
fire, a lot of earth, and then a lot of water and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, and I got a Venus in Scorpio.
Yay!
Scorpio, yeah.
Yes.
That's the darkness here. And that's great. Yeah. Yeah, you guys are, congratulations on your new album, your new LP coming out. It's called The Song of Trees. It's coming out in next month, 2023. Do you guys have a projected date on that yet?
28th.
The 28th.
The end.
28?
The end.
Okay.
Like the 20th.
28th.
The 28th.
February
Sorry, the
28th.
February 28th. Yeah,
Okay.
the last day of
All right.
February.
Is it leap year? We could put it out. 29.
No, 28th. It'll be at the last day of February. Yeah, the 28th is when it's coming out.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, if people want to check out your Bandcamp page, is hemnetjer.bandcamp.com, and that's spelled HEMNETJER.bandcamp.com. And I'll put everything in the link as well. And then of course you have a website, hemnetjer.band. Is there a .com back there after that? Just like that, right?
No, just .band.
Just
Okay,
.band.
.band,
.com
okay.
will work too. And that has the links to all the YouTube and Spotify and
Apple Music, like
Yeah.
everything. Bandcamp, Instagram, Facebook. It's all on there.
So do you guys sell that your cape as well on the pictures? You guys have that in
Not-
your merch, or is
not
that
yet.
you guys?
We haven't
No.
found a supplier that
Yeah.
makes the
Yeah,
right
that's really
ones.
cool. I'm sure many people would like that. I know I would. Anyway,
Ideas,
All right.
ideas.
Yeah.
More
We
merch
just
I
gotta-
could make.
We just gotta find somebody with the logo in the back. It would be pretty sweet.
That's
Yeah.
true.
But yeah,
that's
we
true.
just gotta find somebody who makes the right one, right? Where it's like it needs to be long and hoodie.
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
yeah,
and
more
I
merch I
know that, and I know you guys were playing live, right? I just in the last month or something like that.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
We did a few shows. We had a few summer festivals for 2022. It was really good.
Yes, it was wonderful. We played Verboten Festival here in Vancouver. We played Mechanismus in Seattle, Terminus Festival in Calgary, and then we played another local show here at the end of November.
At Redgate.
At the Redgate Art Society, just which was really wonderful. And so hopefully we'll see what comes out in 2023. I know you have some feelers for some local shows, so we'll see.
In the first half and possibly into later half of 2023, there are some in the works. We're just looking at dates and booking different locations and stuff like that around local shows.
Yes.
So
yeah, and we've been invited to go back to Alberta and to do some more couple shows over there, so that's still in the works. So we'll see if that can pan itself out with everything that's going on. It would be really cool. So
yeah, and I hope you guys can go to the US and so I can see you guys live, or something like that,
Yeah, it would be really wonderful to get back to the States.
We had a great time in Seattle, so we've been trying to set a couple of things up to make it worth the trip. It's not super far, but we might as well want to try.
Or San Francisco. San Francisco.
That would be cool. I've never been to San Francisco. I haven't.
They would love you there. They would love you guys there.
Yeah, we have a few. I have a few friends in that live in San Fran in the music industry, so it would be really cool.
Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe end of this year, maybe 2024, depending on variables and finances and all that good jazz. But it would be really cool to do a US tour. It's on our to-do list. So
yeah. Wow, thank you guys for anything else coming up or anything else I don't know about you want to mention. You guys are just amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the show and bringing your music, to everyone, bringing the music alive, and you guys work really well together. And I good luck in your new album.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you very
much. Song of Trees coming soon.
Yay! Thank you again. It was really awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, let me turn this off, and I always have to make sure I do this correctly here.